The water shimmered as if alive, rising up to meet him, but Amadi didn't flinch. The pendant around his neck was cold, like the hands of the goddess he had betrayed. He stood at the edge of the river, his old name, Dennis, fading into the mist as memories of countless lives clawed at his mind. Amadi, he remembered now. Amadi had been his name long before he took on the names of men and walked among them for centuries. But it was time to undo what he had done. In 2032, the world had changed. The sky buzzed with drones, cities pulsed with machinery, and human life felt more artificial than the metals and wires beneath the ground. Immortality had lost its charm. He had outlasted empires, witnessed countless wars, but now he was haunted by only one thing, Nemiri. She was once the crown princess of the water god, her beauty radiant like the morning sun reflecting on a calm sea. They had been lovers once, bound by secrets deeper than the ocean. She told him the ancient chant that could trap a god inside a pendant, an artifact only whispered about in myths. But in his hunger for eternal life, Amadi used it against her. He sealed her away, sacrificing her for his immortality. And now, he would have to set her free. The pendant throbbed against his chest like a second heart, a constant reminder of the task ahead. His journey was not to retrieve the artifact. That part was done long ago. The journey now was to make Nemiri fall in love with him again. Only then could she speak the secret once more, and only then could he confess what he had done. If she forgave him, they'd live a mortal life together, ending at the age of 90 in a village where no one would know their past. But if she chose revenge, his soul would be shattered, and she would regain her freedom. But forgiveness from a goddess? He knew better than to hope. The talking drum beside him lay silent, its leather tight, waiting. The beat it would carry would call him back to his first life, to the time when he and Nemiri had loved each other, before he had betrayed her. To her, it had been a blink of an eye. To him, it had been thousands of years. Amadi lifted the drumstick, his hand shaking for the first time in centuries. He struck the first beat, and the world around him shifted. The river surged, shimmering with light. Then the air turned cold. She appeared, rising from the water, her form ethereal, eyes cold. She did not speak, but her presence filled the air with a suffocating weight. His heart pounded. "Nemiri," Amadi whispered. Her gaze cut through him like a spear. "You dare speak my name?" I had no choice," he stammered. But even as the words left his mouth, he knew they were a lie. She floated closer, her eyes glinting like daggers. "No choice? You had the choice to love me, to live a mortal life, but you chose eternity. You stole my freedom, Amadi." He knelt before her. "I want to set you free." She looked down at her expression unreadable. "You want your life back, the life of a man. Do you think I do not know your plan?" Amadi's throat tightened. He had hoped she wouldn't remember. "Please, Nemiri, let us be together again. I will never betray you again." For a moment she was silent. Her eyes softened, and he thought maybe, just maybe, he had won her over. But then she spoke again. "Do you think I am still the goddess you once loved? I have seen the depths of your betrayal. I know now what you truly are." Amadi closed his eyes, waiting for the end, waiting for her wrath to fall upon him. His soul would be destroyed, scattered into nothingness. It would be a fitting end for his crime. But the killing blow never came. He opened his eyes to find her standing before him, her hand resting on his cheek. Her touch was warm, familiar. "If I kill you, I will be free," she said quietly. "But I would be alone, in a world that no longer belongs to gods. And I loved you once, Amadi, in a way that gods should not love mortals." Her words hung in the air, a choice waiting to be made. The pendant pulsed one last time before going silent. "Will you choose vengeance?" Amadi whispered. Nemiri shook her head, stepping back. "No, I choose to live." Amadi felt the weight of his immortality lift from his shoulders as the river's magic faded. He was no longer the immortal Dennis, no longer the eternal Amadi. He was just a man again. And Nemiri, no longer a goddess, stood by his side. Together they returned to the village of Izinifite, where no one knew their names, where no one knew their story. They lived as mortals, growing old together, their lives quiet and full. And when they reached the age of 90, they passed from this world, not as a betrayed goddess and her lover, but as two humans who had found peace. No one ever learned the story of Amadi and Nemiri. Only the river remembers. Subscribe and follow for more amazing stories.